It is not something that I would like to go into details because it's a matter of political strategy. So I want you to understand that I'm not telling you much for obvious reasons. All I can say is that the opposition parties have been in active discussions. As chairman of the CPC Renewal Committee, I'm involved in those discussions and I lead most of them at this level. Once we agree basic frameworks, it will of course go to the leadership of our parties to consider and approve. But I am confident, based on the lessons of previous failures and the danger that we all agree the country is in, I am confident that the ACN and the CPC will merge, and there are possibilities of other parties also joining us because we are in discussions with several of them. And there is no doubt that the PDP government has failed. Jonathan has proved himself incapable of keeping this country at the level he found it. This country has doubled its debt level since he took over. This country is accelerating towards insolvency because of the wasteful spending and the massive fraudulent schemes designed by the Jonathan administration to finance the last elections. And there are more schemes being put together as we speak. So everyone knows the danger of this kind of governance continuing, which constitutes a threat, not only to the government itself, but to democracy in Nigeria. And I think that all the opposition parties realize that we have to put our heads together and face this problem and keep the PDP out of office. We have tried to reach out to every serious opposition party, ANPP, APGA, Labour Party, UPGA, all the major parties with some presence in various parts of the country. We are in touch with them, and our hope is that we'll come to some agreement. We are aware that some of them are accused of being branches of the PDP, but we approach these things with an open mind. I mean, anyone that does not realize that PDP constitutes a danger to the Nigerian nation and its democracy, I think is living in another country. And I think this realization is bringing many of them to the table. I believe that one of the reasons why the talks failed was because of too little time available to negotiate what are complex political issues. I think that's part of the problem. This time we are starting early. We are going to go through all the issues carefully, and I believe we'll succeed. And those that were involved in the earlier talks, I think, that took positions that were rigid, have since learned their lessons. Okay, on both sides, have since learned their lessons. And for me, the imperative really that the country is falling apart under PDP, and that is a further encouraging factor. So I am confident that we'll make it this time. Both parties are left of center parties with a grassroots orientation. We don't have differences in ideology. We just have differences in name and location of our grassroots support. The CPC's base is the northern states. The ACN's base is the southwest. But in terms of ideology or political orientation, it's the same. Absolutely. Both parties believe in social justice. This is one thing we have in common. That doom is to sweep away corruption and so on. Our aim is to write the history of Nigeria so that it will be a better place. We are a perfect match with ACN. We are a perfect match. I don't even know why they formed the two parties in the first place. They should have been one party, but that is for another day. There's a difference between merger and acquisition. When you say merger, it means they are coming together. No one is swallowing the other. Acquisition is when you acquire and swallow the other. Okay? We are merging with parties and we'll come up with a new name. So it's not like tomorrow CPC will go into ACN and become ACN, or ACN will go into CPC and become CPC. It will be a different name. And we may even have other parties which will require further negotiations of the name. Okay? It will be a merger, it will not be an acquisition. General Muhammad Buhari got 12 million votes in the election. That is how we measure our size. The ACN's candidate got 2 million. That is how we measure our size. You can't, we are 6 times the size of ACN in that regard, because politics is about followership, membership. Who are the members of the ACN? How many are they? And how do they
senators? They have governors, senators?
They have more of that. You know why? Because the Southwest has built an infrastructure to prevent rigging by the PDP, whereas in the North we have not built that infrastructure to prevent rigging. If the elections in the North were free and fair, we would have swept the whole zone. We would have. But we did not have the structures and the processes to prevent results being rewritten. That's what happened. And when we went to the tribunal, Justice Salami was removed so that we will not have access to the ballot papers and biometric register to prove that Jonathan was not duly elected. I mean, you all know the story. Look, everyone is entitled to his opinion because Nigerians have selective amnesia. They forget. As I said, in 1964 there was violence. Was it Buhari Buhari's comment that led to that? In 1983 there was violence when you had rigged elections. Was it Buhari that made comments? In 1993, after the annulment of the June 12th election, there was violence. Was it Buhari that made the comments? We should stop being ridiculous and attribute violence after electoral heist to anyone. If you don't want violence, don't cheat in elections. People know who they voted for. And if you change the results, people are likely to react. It has happened 3 times in our history. It was not happening for the first time. So to blame Buhari or any of his comments for the CPC is ridiculous. It's absurd. It's brainless. It is just, it is just trying to blame someone, which is a typical Nigerian thing. In Egypt, people came out and booted out the government. Was it Buhari's comments? People react to injustice. It may take time, but they always do. And this is why I keep repeating this message to the PDP. Don't even think of reading the next elections. Because if you do, there will be no country for you to govern. Because everyone is up to his neck in this anger. And it builds up gradually. This thing has been going on for a while. Now, we in the CPC do not believe that it was anybody's comments that led to the post-election violence. We believe it was the rigging, the blatant rigging of the PDP that led to the violence. In my state, the PDP leader told me, admitted to me, that they added 800,000 votes to Jonathan. Jonathan got only 300,000. They added 800,000 to make it 1.1 million in the elections. And you think people will sit down and accept that? You must be joking. It doesn't work that way. Human beings have the capacity to react when they feel great injustice. And this is it. Now, we will continue to explain our point of view. But those that have made up their mind that CPC is like this have made up their minds. And we frankly would not care. Okay? The facts are on the ground. The government has set up even a commission of inquiry to look into that. What did the commission of inquiry came back and said? They said that the reason why there was post-election violence was because there was massive rigging. They didn't say it was Buhari's comments. The CPC has no view on violent revolutions. Violent revolutions have happened throughout history when injustice gets to a point. It has nothing to do with CPC. It's a social fact. Go and read history, you will find it. When the French stood up and killed their king and guillotined the queen, it was because of social injustice. When we had the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia in 1914, it was because of social injustice. And anybody that fails to learn that and instead tries to say it's a CPC policy, it's just being ridiculous. They should go and educate themselves.